Namaskar people, welcome back to our channel. So the weather has started to cool down here in India and more extremely in Canada. But things with the Canadian PR is just starting to heating up further with a chilling update that was recently introduced by AIRCC to the ITA system. The update, which most of you would know by now, is the incremental points for French. So we thought that this was a good moment for actually making a video where we will talk about how to check your CRS score in the current scenario. The mechanism remains the same, but what is the implication of the added advantage of French and where do you stand without knowing the language? So while this video would be a little too short to cover each and every scenario, each and every demographic and category of the applicant, we are just taking a hypothetical situation, talking about one person who's 28 years old, who has done his graduation, who has worked for 4 years, and he's currently living in India. So what would be the CRS score for that person? And in the later part of the video, we will look at options that this guy could actually explore to increase his CRS score. So stay tuned to the end of the video. Let's start.
To check your CRS score, simply go to Google and type in CRS calculator. Select this link that is from cic.gc.ca. You're redirected to this website wherein you have a legal disclaimer followed by how this tool actually works. Skip all of that, keep scrolling down and come to the start of the calculator. So in this particular scenario, we are dealing with a 28-year-old individual who's never married, who has 4 years of work experience and has done his bachelor's graduation. So we'll start with what is your marital status. We'll select never married. How old are you? Like we said, he's 28. What is your level of education? Herein you have to put in the highest level of education that you have attained. In this particular case, it's a bachelor's degree. So we will select this option. This covers all the 4 years and 3 years bachelor's degrees. If you have done something that is less than 3 years and it's at a graduate level, you'll have to select the 2-year program at a university, college, trade or technical school. If you have done an additional certificate, diploma or a degree after your bachelor's degree, you will select 2 or more certificates, diplomas or degrees. But if what you have done after your bachelor's is actually a master's degree or an education qualification that is linked to any licensed profession, you will select master's degree. And the last one is for a PhD. So we'll stick to bachelor's degree for this scenario. Moving on. Have you earned a Canadian degree? This guy has not studied in Canada. So we'll select no. Moving on to official languages, Canada has 2 official languages, English and French, and proficiency in both is rewarded. So for this case, we'll stick to English and we'll look at what the test results will be. So are your test results less than 2 years old? Yes, because you'll have to anyway appear for your IELTS when you're trying to apply for Canadian immigration. So we'll select yes. Which language test did you take? It would be IELTS. Coming on to the score, we'll select some basic score for this guy. Let's say he got a 7 in speaking, an 8 in listening, an 8 in reading, and a 7 in writing. Now, getting more than 7 in writing is an arduous task and requires a lot of practice from your end. So yeah, keep that in mind when you're trying to prepare for IELTS. Do you have any other language results? Like we said, he only knows English, so we'll say not applicable. Work experience. So in this section, first you're asked if you have any Canadian work experience. In case you have, you are rewarded handsomely for it, but in case you don't, you simply have to select none or less than a year. So if you have any experience of working in Canada but it's less than a year, it's as good as no experience at all. In the second part, you are asked how many years of foreign work experience do you have? Now, when it says foreign, it means everything outside of Canada. So like we said, this guy has 4 years of work experience. So we will select 3 or more. 3 or more because everything beyond 3 years doesn't add any more value. So you get maximum number of points for 3 or more. Do you have a certificate of qualification of Canadian province, territory or federal body? Well, in this case, we don't. Then coming on to the additional points. Do you have a valid job offer supported by a labor market impact assessment? This talks about if you have a standing job offer from a Canadian employer, but you're not living in Canada right now. So if you do have that, it adds a great deal of points to your score. But if you don't, you simply have to select no. Do you have a nomination certificate from a province or territory? Well, it's really difficult to get that. So, for most of the cases, keeping most of the cases in mind, we'll assume that this guy would not get that. Do you or your spouse or common law partner have at least one brother or sister living in Canada? Here it's asking if you have a sibling who's already a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident. If you have, and you select yes here, you get an additional 15 points. But as is the case in most of the cases, you don't really have a sibling in Canada. Now, we'll just calculate the score. Here you can see the breakup of the score, different points achieved for different segments selected. Coming down, further down. Well, here is your CRS, 432. It's a subpar score in the current environment. People familiar with the express entry cutoffs would know that the cutoff right now is around 470. So the key takeaway here is that only with a bachelor's, without a postgraduate, the chances of immigrating to Canada through express entry, through federal skilled worker program is really, really, really difficult. So yeah, there you have it.
So as you have seen, his CRS score was nowhere near where he needs to be in order to even have a striking chance of getting an ITA. So what this guy is actually doing is, he's going for his master's. He's trying to improve his education qualification, and at the same time he's trying to learn French so that he can increase his scores in 2 different categories. Now this is a time consuming process. When you're going for your master's, it would take you at least 1 year and in most cases 2 years. And if we are being realistic about learning French, it's going to take you anywhere from 10 months to 2 years to actually reach a level where you'll be proficient enough to appear for the test and make a material difference to your CRS. So let's talk about the second scenario where a couple of years have passed and this guy has changed a lot about himself. Well, now this scenario is going to make things a lot more interesting. So we'll open the link again and we'll scroll further down. No, I don't have time for that. Scroll further down to the start of the calculator. Now you'll change your marital status, or rather we'll change the marital status for this guy to married, because over the last 2 years he got married. Is your spouse a common law partner, a citizen or permanent resident of Canada? No, he married an Indian woman. Will your spouse or common law partner come with you to Canada? Yes, that is what they're planning. How old are you? Well, 2 years have passed, so this guy is now at the age of 30. What is the level of education? Well, he went for his master's over the last 2 years, so his level of education has increased from bachelor's degree to master's degree. Have you earned a Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate? No, he's already done a lot in the last 2 years. Wouldn't be able to do this. Official languages. Well, he spent a great deal of time over the last couple of years studying French and appearing for the French test. So now he will have proficiency, some level of proficiency in both languages and some incremental rewards coming his way. So let's select first for English. Are your test results less than 2 years old? Yes, he appeared for English again. He selected IELTS and he got, let's say, he improved his score, got 7.5 in speaking, an 8 in listening, an 8 in reading, and a 7 in writing. Do you have any other test results? Yes, for French he appeared for TEF. Now what his score would be? Well, we'll have to select some basic score because just spending 2 years learning a new language and exhibiting your proficiency, no matter how hard you try, you won't be at a very high level. So speaking, let's say we'll select this 5th band, or for listening again 5th band, for reading again 5th band, and for writing again 5th band. Work experience, well, still no work experience in Canada, so we'll put in none or less than a year. Foreign work experience, well, still remains 3 or more years, irrespective of the fact whether he worked over the last couple of years or not. Well, he didn't because he went for his MBA full time. Do you have a certificate of qualification from a Canadian province? Still no. Still no valid job offer.
Still no nomination. Now coming on to the points for the spouse. Oh no, wait, this is still for the sibling. So here, it could be your sibling or your spouse's sibling. In both cases, you get an incremental 15 points. So let's say this guy's spouse doesn't have a brother or a sister living in Canada, so this still remains no. So now actually coming on to the points for your spouse. So what is the highest level of education? Well, these guys met in their MBA college, and this woman is also a master's degree. In the last 10 years, how many years of skilled work experience in Canada does your spouse have? So, an important thing to note here is that when it comes to work experience, in case of spouse, the work experience is only counted in terms of calculating the points if it's in Canada. The foreign work experience holds no points in case of a spouse. Did your spouse or common law partner take language test? If so, which one? Yeah, she appeared for IELTS and got a good enough score. First, second. Now we'll calculate the score. Now before we calculate the score, actually, let's just quickly recap how many points the spouse got, or rather for which sections the spouse got points. Points for spouse only matter in terms of education qualification, Canadian work experience, and language test. Nothing more. Well, if you count the sibling points, then there are 4 sections, otherwise nothing else. So we'll just calculate the score. Coming down. Let's say what this guy was able to achieve by putting in that amount of effort over the last couple of years. 477. His points increased by a staggering 42. Now when you see here, French language skills come out to be 0. That means 5th band would just not cut it. You'll have to do better than that. So just by learning French, you're not going to get ahead. You have to learn French and you have to do well on the test as well. So this is an exhibition of that. Still, by doing masters and by adding on the points for spouse's masters, this guy was able to take his score up to 477. Let's keep everything else the same and figure out how many points you can actually get for French if you improve your score from 5th band to 4th band. So yeah, we selected the 5th band earlier. Let's just switch to the 4th band and see how much this guy was able to score. Now, scroll. French language skills at 50. So from 0, it jumped to 50 and the grand total went to 532. So you can see how much difference French language can actually make, because this grand total above 500 is just amazing. No matter what the scenario is, if you can hypothetically get the score, you're sorted for everything that is coming your way.
So as you can see, things for most of you are not done and dusted. If age is on your side, there are options you can explore to actually increase your chances of immigrating to Canada. And both of the options we discussed in this video. But what it requires from you is commitment, dedication, time, and effort. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And it has become even more imposing over the last couple of years, with the Canadian immigration getting so popular that everyone out there right now is talking about it. So yeah, it's true that things are difficult, but again, you can still improve your CRS score, you can still be within a striking distance of getting an ITA, but you need to be devoted wholeheartedly and you need to be patient. That's it from this video. We'll be coming back with more such content in our future videos. But until then, don't forget to like, share and subscribe this video so that you don't miss out on any updates, important updates and good stuff that we bring to you.